A while back, I did a video on pine tar on my Mosin, and I love that finish. I mean, that to me is just perfect. In fact, I liked it so much I did a couple of my marlins that way, and I really like that finish. The Finns were using that on their guns, and for good reason. I mean, it's a really weather resistant. It just feels good to the hand. There's no downside to it, except it hasn't got that shine. If you're looking for that shiny crap, it doesn't have that. But boy, it sure works good. And after I did that, I did it on some of my axes, or did the handles. And I really like the way that works, because there again, a lot of this stuff comes varnished, and you can't get a good hold on a varnish piece. This is a Husqvarna axe that I really like, just a nice little axe. And I could see no downside to that either. I mean, it works really well. But what I was using was this Swix stuff made for cross-country skis. Now, a little can, but still, I mean, I did, 3 guns and like 4 axes, and I still got half a can. This stuff lasts a long time. But what I couldn't figure out, there's 10 to 30% pine tar and 30 to 60% aromatic hydrocarbons. Because regular pine tar, like this is some very thick, gooey stuff. So you needed something to thin it out, so that you get decent penetration. Though I saw the one guy did it with the pine tar and it worked out, but it just, to get good penetration, you need something thinner. So I started doing some research on it, and now I know the answer. One of the most ancient wood preservation finishes is pine tar. But the recipe is pine tar 50-50 with boiled linseed oil. That is the trick. Because then you get a nice thin consistency that'll get you good penetration. Then you got to heat this stuff up. There again to get good penetration, but that's why I'm going to do a bunch of my stuff today, because it's going to be a hot day, so I'm going to smear this crap on there and leave it sit all day. Like linseed oil you can get anywhere. Pine tar is a little trickier. This is stuff that's made for horse hooves. I think I paid $8 for it, but I've seen it listed online, even some places for like $6 for a quart. But if you go to Amazon, it's like $24 a quart. You got to shop around, and in my shop around, I usually find Amazon ain't the place to get it. But I got this in a local feed store, and it's got a zillion other uses. It's good stuff to have. A really good idea to have around. But in my research, and I found out, like I say, it's a real ancient technique, but I was looking at the old Viking stave churches. It's an unusual construction, but at one time, I mean, there's some of them that are 1,000 years old. At one time there was like 1,000 of them in Norway. They're down to, I think, 29 now. But one of the things they were doing, they were kind of a post construction driven into the ground. And the reason they have lasted was because they were using pine tar on those posts. So you look at all these like new Morton buildings that are post construction with that green crap on the posts. I mean, they're not guaranteed for I think like 50 or 60 years. And that a post would hold up, for 1,000 years. That's quite impressive. But they use it also on their ships. You know, and there's some of those ships that are still around in museums and stuff, but the reason is the pine tar. It's like the ultimate in wood preservation. I don't know how you could beat this stuff. And dirt cheap, you know, if you know what you're looking for. And no harsh chemicals. I mean, the stuff isn't, you know, just impressed the hell out of me. But anyway, but you should look at those style of churches. You know, like I said, I did it with that Swix on this axe. I really liked it. So, because it's going to be a warm day, I dug out all my wood handle tools. Well, not all of them. This is probably about half of what I have. But like, this is an axe I just put a new handle on. I'm going to have to scrape that off first. But I'm going to soak all that crap down. You know, because a lot of that stuff, like say now this is a broad axe. They're an unusual handle. They're slanted blade this way. This one's really super old. Now these handles are hard to find, so I want to keep that handle in one piece. You know, like this is an adze. There again, you know, and that wood will just go to hell just sitting around. So I'm going to go through all this stuff and put a coat on her and leave her out in the sun. Because like this hole is only about 2 years old, and already I can feel this handle is starting to deteriorate. And it reminds me of my old man. He used to end up buying, you know, every year you'd buy a new rake, because the problem would be, like say if your rake handle always rots, you know, right in here, and you go to look to buy a rake handle, it costs you just as much or more to buy the handle than to buy a whole new rake. So you buy a new crappy rake. Same with shovels and axes. You know, and it's not easy, you know, putting new axe handles on. You have to know what you're doing. Like this, somebody gave me an axe head, an old one with a bad handle, and I was able to find a brand new made in USA hickory handle. But of course they come varnished, which is a horseshit deal. So I'm scraping all the varnish off, and I'm going to tar the whole works. I'll show you later today when I come home from work what it looks like. Okay, I got the whole pile done. And as you can see, I've been heating up in the sun. Stuff's already drawn in. So it'll be just, I love that stuff. You're going to see me using a lot more of that stuff. I got some other woodworking projects I'm going to do in the future that I think this is going to be my fallback finish. Because to do all this stuff was about a pint I used. Not even a pint. And I had some left over, so I dug out my old single row garden cultivator and did the handles on that too. I don't use it a lot anymore, but if I ever want to, might as well keep the handles in good shape. So I think that stuff is really the way to go. I think, you know, buy good tools with good handles. Wood handles, that fiberglass is crap. But then sand off that damn finish and put on a layer of that 50-50 pine tar and boiled linseed oil. And I think you'll have a tool you can hand down to your grandchildren.